terms to even to up to above 10 years, because you can't go into real estate with very short-term financing. So we look at that. Then we look at working capital for business, because we only led to productive sectors, because we do not want to lead too much in consumption, because consumption is itself aggravates poverty. So we felt that it's important that any productive sector within the country needs financing. So we look at all the whole horizon of SME. And
okay. One listening to this might wonder, and I'm sure for the people at home, they might be wondering, what qualifies as an SME? What about that lady who possibly is not looking at real estate or a huge agricultural setup? Maybe they just want to buy, for example, maybe get clothes from Turkey, come and sell them and build that business. What qualifies an SME?
Okay, for us, we led to the whole area of business. If you look at micro loans, we read from all the way from 30,000 basically to 200 and over million shillings. The only thing is that for that trader who is willing to go to Turkey and buy clothes, we consider that to be micro lending. Okay. So, and micro lending has its own space. In fact, 60% of our product sits in micro lending. Wow. That's where it is.
And how does one qualify? Do you have to be a member of the bank? Do you have to?
In micro lending, there are two ways of entering it. They are those women and who cannot be able to mobilize collateral. They don't have collateral. So what they do is they get themselves into groups. We train them, we put them, and they co-guarantee each other. They use social security, and we access them money. But it reaches a point.
Does it work like a SACCO?
Yes, it works like a SACCO, but now a little bit people are put together as a group. The groups range from 7 to about 20, 25. And that's micro. But there is also micro, which is a little bit larger. People feel, yes, I have participated in groups for a long time. I have some little bit of assets of my own. At least I have bought a plot, so I can be able to take the loan for myself. And I don't need to be in the groups. Okay. So they are able to access money individually. And either they use a logbook, they use they have a certificate of shares, or they have a title deed of a plot. So they can be able to access money on their own. And these are people borrowing from 500,000 all the way to 3 million shillings. And they have their own terms. But there is this growing sector, which is now above 3 million all the way to 200. For us, because we are in the micro arena, we do not consider SME the way banks, commercial banks do look at it. For us, SME starts all the way from 3 million to 200 million shillings.
Now that you've brought in the banks, what's uniquely different about maybe what product you would offer as compared to a bank? Because I know one of the biggest issues with banks is possibly guarantees or rather collateral, and secondly interest rates.
On the areas of collateral, we are very flexible. When we get to the SME sector, at that point people have their own collateral, because they want big money and they want it for a long time. So you find that at that point the differences are not very major. Okay. But when we get to the micro level, we are completely different, because at that point our collateral is very flexible. We are willing to take what we call social guarantee, where people stand in for you and say, he is a good man or he's a good lady, give her money, we know her. Just the same way the SACCOs people do. And that banks, most commercial banks don't do that. The other way is that is also what drives us. You see, the institution, when it was formed very strongly to help the country develop and elevate poverty. And that's why in certain areas that we operate, most banks do not operate in those areas. We are willing to develop markets. We are willing to break the horizons. We are willing to go where many people do not consider viable to go, because we feel strongly that if we open those areas, we are creating opportunities for the people of this country. So we look at for us we are very wide, and we are driven by different agendas. Profitability is not purely what drives us. The institution was formed to at least to be able to address social needs of this country, and that's what wakes us up on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. Now, I'm sure by virtue of what you do, as we are winding up, you come across many kinds of businesses, some that are successful, some of course that are not too successful. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there? First of all, if we could come up with like a chart of do's and don'ts.
I think the first thing is for any entrepreneur who wants to get to business is you must know what you want to achieve, and you must focus, because the problem with many entrepreneurs is they want to do more than one thing. They want to throw too many balls in the air, whichever ball works. What we usually advise is focus on one line. If you are in agriculture, just focus yourself on agriculture. In agriculture, if you take dairy farming, focus on dairy farming. Know the whole value chain of dairy farming and where the product goes. Once you do that, then the rest of it becomes very easy. The other issue is diverting of resources. Many people, they need to, at one point, employ professionals when the business expands, because they need to know the difference between their turnover and their profit.
Correct.
Because many a times we are not so sure when we are making money or when we are not making money, because we see a lot of resources and cash coming into the business and we think the business is making a lot of money. Then my other advice is that it takes time for a business to grow. The business is like any other thing. It has a gestation period. You've got to be patient on it, and you've got to engage it on a full-time basis. You can't do business on a part-time way. You need a good banker, of course, who understands you and who understands the issues that you are going through on a daily basis, and the rest of it becomes success.
Okay. Now let's things like education to do with money, because you'll go to school, you're taught how to do the math, but we're not really taught how to handle money and how not to handle money. Is there space for that? Do we have the space for that?
Yes. Actually, what we do is that we engage our customers on financial literacy. And we engage them for quite some time, because our officers are trained on financial management. They actually advise the clients on financial literacy, how to do bookkeeping,
right?
How to differentiate between profit and turnover, how to know which is expense and which is asset. So we actually take our clients through those motions of financial literacy, because once you do that, then they are able to succeed. We also have a partnership with Kenya Women Holding, which is our mother company, which invests most of its time and resources in giving financial education to our customers. They hold workshops, and in those workshops they do train our customers. There are times that also we take our customers, especially when they break into the SME sector, and we give them exposure to other women and businesses that are very successful, and they are able to exchange. The good thing about women is that women are not territorial. They share ideas among themselves, especially when they are in groups. There is a lot of passing of knowledge from the people who actually have experienced it to the people who do not have the experience. So there is a lot of information sharing and knowledge being passed from one client to another client.
Okay. Finally, the importance of mentorship when it comes to business, because that's another area that you find lacking. People who can pass over the wisdom to either their children or to generations behind.
Actually, we advise strongly that as family businesses grow, it's very important for them to draw their children into those businesses. And it's also good at one point actually to know the business has grown beyond your capacity. You need also to employ professionals, and you need to divorce yourself from the business and say, I am the investor. The business has grown beyond my level. I need to employ professionals, because a good business is as good as the people who are managing it. And at times you find the business will grow beyond your imagination. And once it gets to that level, the business gets stuck. And at that point, it's good to draw in either your children who you have taken through school, because in Africa that's something we don't invest very heavily.
Right.
We want our children to go to school, but we are in business. We don't actually engage them on our businesses, so they do not know what to do when we are getting older. And that is an area that we need to invest heavily, so that the mentorship takes place over the years, because you can't mentor somebody over a very short time.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mwangi Githaiga. We'll have to wind it up right there. That's Mwangi Githaiga, who is the MD for KWFT. And I'm sure for more information, if somebody wanted to get more information about how to get the SME loans, the microfinancing, How do they go about that?
We have a number that we will be able to share with the listeners, and the number is available. They can also engage with us. We have 242 offices spread across the whole country. Our head office is in Upper Hill, and we are very, very available and willing to engage. You do not have to come to our businesses. You don't have to come to our offices. We are willing to come to where your business is. You don't have to waste your time. We are available.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Well, that's where we're going to wind up our business chat this morning with Mr. Mwangi Githaiga, the MD for KWFT. But do stay with us right here on Morning Express, because next we're going to have our person of interest, and it's none other than Frederick Omondi Owino. And Ustakeona, if I would try and use his terms. That's coming up right here on Morning Express, so don't go away.